everybody, this is Finch. This is my first time-lapse video with commentary. I hope it's not bad. If you have any feedback or anything, please let me know. I would love to hear it. I want to make these videos more often, and I would like to make them, good. So don't be shy. Let me know what's going on. We'll use hats. So this is a couple of recordings of streams that I did on Twitch. That's why there's a lot going on. I tried to blur out some of the stuff so it wasn't as distracting, but hopefully in the future I can learn how to record these where it's just the piece of art that you're seeing. I haven't figured that out yet, so leave your comments in the down below section if you know how to do that. That would help me out. If it's not a big deal, if you like it this way, let me know too. I would like to hear all y'all's thoughts. So I started with a sketch of my Mermay piece from 2017. I wanted to do something really weird and different compositionally. Composition is not my strong suit, so I wanted to sort of challenge myself and do this sort of weird line throughout that kind of hopefully framed her face and brought it all back, made your eyes loop around the photo a little bit. So I'm just going in and adding a little more detail and refining the sketch a little bit more. I'm now putting in just the basic colors. I tried to look online for like palettes that I liked, but I just kind of ended up going with my own thing. Then I'm putting a lighter gradient in the background here. I just want to sort of get the overall feel put down really quickly with color and light. So I'm doing that here with the gradients and like a big wide brush. I like to paint digitally like I would on a canvas. Start with big blocks of color and then slowly refine the detail. I also like to paint everything on one layer. I usually keep the background separate from everything else. I keep the liner and the sketch separate, but when I color the final piece, I pretty much do it all on one layer, and I think I do that because I also want to keep it very painterly and make it feel like it's being painted on a canvas, and I think you can sort of get that feel when you are sort of carving away at the paint and the lines and everything, if that makes sense. You might have seen before I was looking at pictures of women underwater. I wanted to get the feel of the hair, the volume, how it sits underwater, and how it sort of looks blurry and out of focus and sort of watercolory. Now I'm just going in and adding a little more detail, a little more light. Added a slight highlight to the bottom left corner of her tail. I didn't want it to get lost in the darkness, so I kind of gave that a little pop. It's really subtle, but I think it helps not let it get lost there. And then I wanted to make sure her face stood out from the rest of the painting, so I gave her a really white, shiny eye and a pop of purple there. Usually I start with the face and I kind of work out from that, but I wanted to work on the whole painting as a whole and try to get everything figured out first before I worked on the face too much and then got bored with the rest of the painting, because painting the face is my favorite. Painting the face and hair, those are details that I love to do, so I usually find myself doing them first, but I try to step out of that comfort zone a little bit. You can see the top highlight on the top of her tail. That I was looking at reference photos of sharks and sea creatures that have that sort of slick surface to their skin, sort of grainy, really bright highlight that pops. And I wanted to add that to her skin so you kind of could tell what kind of surface and material it was. There's the sharks. I'm looking at reference photos. Oh my god, they're so stupid looking. Here I'm using the lasso tool to create a little sort of a caustic lighting effect on the skin, but I ended up not liking it and taking it away. It's a lot of just experimenting and trial and error with my paintings. I don't really have a plan. Here I decided to add some red algae to her hair just to make it so there's not so much white going on right there, and I wanted to add that purple in another place of the painting, so I made it red algae, and then I also used that purple to sort of overlay some color into the tail a little bit, so it was subtly throughout the piece. I don't like to just have, if I'm using one color like that, I don't like to keep it in just one spot. See, you can see me adding it to the tail there a little bit. You can see on the right hand side there, I'm working in some of the muscular form beneath the skin. I wanted it to be not just like a weird tube shaped tail. I wanted you to actually see where the muscles are and how it bends. Here I'm adding a little reflective light underneath the tail so it's not just black there. you can still see a lot of those sketched lines underneath in these parts, and that's sort of the part that takes the longest for me, is just painting over everything and making everything cohesive. But like I said, I like doing it that way because it feels more like traditional painting to me. This was another part that took a long time, was doing that sort of dorsal fin along the top of the tail. It was hard to get the lighting right and that effect that it was sort of transparent. Notice here I'm probably getting way distracted by chat. That happens a lot when I'm streaming, so it's not always the most work efficient way to art, but I do enjoy it. I like chatting with everybody and answering questions. If you guys ever have questions, please feel free to come over to the stream and ask them. This was another part that was challenging for me, which isn't usually. The hair is like one of my favorite things to draw. Oh, Michael Jackson. Okay, well, see ya. It's underwater hair is like a completely different type of hair to draw. It's very floaty and blurry, and there's a lot of different things going on, like scientifically, that it's a challenge. It's definitely a challenge to draw. So I don't think I really say I would succeeded at doing underwater hair in this piece, but I tried to make it look as sort of painterly and blurry and floaty as possible. Here I wanted to add as much white into the space as possible so your eye would go there. I do think that, looking back at this piece, I think that her face, the point of the piece that I wanted to be to catch the eye the most, like, is probably not that. I think the hair in the left hand corner probably does that first because it's the whitest and brightest part and it catches your eyes naturally, unlike the face, which is kind of hidden in this piece. You can see also I keep a copy of the piece, a smaller copy on the left-hand side. Sometimes I keep the navigator open, but I want to see the overall piece small from far away. If I'm making adjustments to the piece, they'll stand out in the smaller piece. And if I made an adjustment that's really not good or affects the piece in any way, I want to be able to see that like right away. So this is where I finally decided to tackle the hand, which is always just so intimidating. As you can see, I erased many times. But actually it came out with a hand that I was quite happy with. I wanted something that had really kind of long, witchy fingers, with webbed hands, of course. To make sure the tail was behind the fin on the end of the tail was coming through
So it's a little less detailed, a little more blurry, because you're looking through that material of the tail at the material of the fin at the back of the tail there, and I really like how that came out actually. Sure that the hand line flat on the tail made sense, so I put a little break in the dorsal fin here. There you can see I was looking at sheer fabric to sort of replicate that look here in the fin. I check to see what the values look like. I usually throw a black and white adjustment layer over the whole piece, and I can turn it on and off and see where I need to bump up the contrast a little bit.
Now I'm just going in and finishing up the red algae detail, and I'm using a freeform lasso to make sort of little ovals of light and dark, and that works really well for just putting that sort of thing down quickly. Now I'm doing an overlay layer and just making some lighting adjustments. I usually make a lot of overlay layers and then merge it with my color layer throughout the time I'm working. I'm taking the blur tool and just blurring out some of the things in the background, like the hair and the fin, trying to make it a little more out of focus so your eye goes more to the face. I tried as hard as I could to get your eye to the face, and I hope it worked. I don't know. I'm still not sure. And then I added a little light rays coming from the top of the surface. And then one of the last things I did was I tried to fix this tail, figure out the composition. I drew red lines to show you where the lines and the point of interest, basically where the lines connect. I was trying to figure out if the composition made sense. I still don't know if it made sense, but I tried something different. I challenged myself, and I learned a lot from this piece, so I'm pretty happy with it. Like I said, there's a lot I didn't like about it and did like about it, but overall I think I learned a lot from this piece, and whenever I learn something from a piece that I've done, then I feel like mission accomplished. So if you like this piece, let me know what you think. I'd like to hear any feedback you have of this piece or of this video. Make sure to leave your comments down below, and if you want to come to a stream, you can check out my Twitch channel. I'll leave the link below in the description, and as well as my other socials. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.